Inflation continues to rise at levels not seen in decades, with everything from gas to groceries getting more expensive across the board. It's become a major talking point in D.C. and on kitchen tables as the White House and lawmakers work to get those rising costs under control. Joining us for more on that and more is Congressman Greg Murphy, a Republican representing North Carolina's 3rd District, who was recently chosen to serve on the influential House Ways and Means Committee. Congressman, it's good to see you, sir. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Tim, hope you're doing well.
Absolutely. I do have to ask you one quick question about redistricting. You're over there on the other side of the state, the eastern side. Are you watching this closely? Does it concern you, or are your lines likely to stay somewhat in place where it won't impact you too much?
You know, Tim, I'm concerned about it, just like everybody else is. But my district, or the district I represent, rather, changed the least in the census. We lost some population in the north, gained it in the south. So my wish to my fellow legislators, and I'll say this via this forum, is, hey, just leave me alone. And so you can worry about the rest of the state. Just leave me alone. So,
well, you know, it is a domino effect, but you do have the advantage of being away from where a lot of the major changes are happening. All right, the House Ways and Means Committee probably means little to people at home because they don't understand it. But why is this so important to you and for the citizens of North Carolina and your district?
Well, Tim, honestly, it's really what's considered to be the most influential committee in Congress. It covers everything that touches American lives: healthcare, taxes, trade, Social Security. We have oversight over so many different issues. So it's really the most broadly encompassing committee really in Congress. And so this is great for our district. It's great for our state. I'm the only member of the North Carolina delegation on Ways and Means. And honestly, I think it's good for the country. You know, I'm not there to be a screamer. I'm not there to chase down cameras. I'm there to actually do the hard work of the country. And this is the committee that really does a great deal of hard work. So I feel very fortunate, really, in my first term to get on that committee.
I mean, is it important because it does take on so many issues, but it also sort of focuses where this goes and the likelihood that it might move forward, these issues?
Yeah, definitely. But if you look at our state, you look at our region, so much has to do with healthcare. Taxes affect everybody. Trade, you look at how much North Carolina does trades, exports, imports, and then Social Security covers, you know, everybody eventually. And so it's really, it has a thread that touches literally every person, not only in our district, in our state, but in our nation.
Is it daunting, those large topics and so many of them, or does we're even working in the North Carolina legislature, we take on so many random big topics, kind of prepare you almost?
Well, honestly, my years in medical school, I think we had a little bit to learn back then when we were assigned, you know, 600 pages to read in a night of really tough medical data. It is daunting, yes, because this is all new information to me, but it's stuff that I'm really looking forward to delving in and really understanding and making a contribution.
From your viewpoint, what's going on here with inflation? I mean, it's been going on for some time. Obviously, things don't seem to be getting better. What's going on?
Yeah, Tim, so this nation has historically, at least over the last 20, 25, 30 years, enjoyed a very low rate of inflation. People were able to purchase houses at a lower rate. I remember back in the 70s when we had inflation rates in the high double digits. But what we're encountering now is really multifactorial. There are many interventions that have been put forth by the Biden administration that have caused further inflation, but there's also worldwide pressure. I'm not going to blame it entirely on what this administration has done. And there's somewhat of a pent-up demand that happened with the pandemic. But also what has happened with the pent-up demand is that we've had supply-side issues where we're not able to get the materials. So we also paid people to stay at home for the longest time. So if you look at an industry that, for example, a company that made 100 widgets a day, and they paid people to stay at home and only 40 workers showed up, and they only made 40 widgets a day, the cost of each of those widgets goes up. And then if you look at what's happened with our domestic oil production, that has gone down, essentially has not kept up because of regulations. We see now gas prices 50+% higher than they were a year and a half ago. And so gas, if anything, leads to everything. It makes food more expensive. It makes everything more expensive. Such to the point now, you know, where inflation is at the rate where it's a tax. It's truly a tax, especially on lower income individuals. And if you look at the average worker in the last year lost 2 paychecks, $3,500, lost 2 paychecks to the cost of inflation. So while we've seen wages go up, inflation has gone up at a much greater rate. And so people have actually lost what their true purchasing power is.
So you mentioned part of the problem about people not working or going to work, those other 60 people that are making those widgets, to use your example. I mean, that money has to run out. What's going on if these people aren't going back, or is it just that it takes time to keep making those widgets and we got a backlog and it's just going to take time?
It's multifactorial, Tim. What happened really, and then I've talked to lots of folks, why are we not having people go back to work? The unemployment rate is low, but so many individuals, and this is what's not counted in the unemployment rate, have decided, well, I got paid to stay at home, or I like being at home, and they're just staying at home and not working. And so it's a psychology. It's changed the psychology of many folks in this country, where instead of our country, which was built on individualism and industriousness, now is seen more of as a softer, lazier country. So we have to find a way to get those people out of their armchairs and out of the the sofas at home with the television and the games, and getting back into the workforce.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling to me, though, those payments have run out, or at least they've stopped making them, that those folks can just sit there, but I don't know these people's individual lives. All right, so if you were in charge and had the magic wand, then what does Washington need to do to help this problem?
They need to do several things. One is they need to stop we're spending $22 million a day more in America purchasing Russian oil, which Russian gas is 50% dirtier than American gas. Number one, that's really one of the biggest things too, is we have to stop the unions from stopping truckers being able to pick up supplies from our ports. They've stopped truckers who are non-union truckers from being able to unload supplies. So we've had a supply side issue with that. So there's not only the demand issue, there's the supply issue. Some of this also goes to chips and China holding that. We need to stop our dependence upon China for so many different things. So it's a multifactorial thing that's happened not only worldwide, but we as a nation could do a lot to help domestic inflation.
We only got about 30 seconds left. Are you at all optimistic? I mean, it's hard to get anything done in Washington right now.
It is. I think America has seen, with so much of the crime wave that we're experiencing, the inflation that's caused by some of this. And I'm just going to say it. I think Republicans do a much better job when it comes to the economy than Democrats do. And if we could just throw out some of our crazies and work together to do this, I think we actually could.
All right, we will see. Congress is still pretty even-handed up there. Well, big election year ahead of us, too. Congressman, thank you so much for your time. It's good to see you, sir. I know you're in between votes, so we'll let you head back. Thank you.
Great. Thanks.
All right.